अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताका स्वामिति नामिने। नमः आचार्यपादाय निताय कृपाप्रदायिने गौरकथा दामोदाय नगर ग्रामतारिणे। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So today we will continue to read from Nectar of Devotion chapter number 5, the purity of devotional service. In this the statement so we were discussing about the Narada Muni's advice to Vyasadeva. This is actually from Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 5th chapter, verse 17, wherein Sri Narada Muni advises Vyasadeva thus: even if one does not execute his specific occupational duty, but immediately takes direct shelter of the lotus feet of Hare Krishna, there will be no fault on his part, and in all circumstances his position is secure. Even if by some bad association he falls down while executing devotional service, or if he does not finish the complete course of devotional service and dies untimely, still he is not at a loss. A person who is simply discharging his occupational duty in Varna and Ashrama, however, with no Krishna consciousness, practically does not gain the true benefit of human life. The purport is that all conditioned souls who are engaged very frantically in activities for sense gratification without knowing that this process will never help them get out of material contamination are awarded only with repeated births and deaths. So after many births only one surrenders to Lord Krishna. It is said in Bhagavad Gita also, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyati Vasudeva has Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many births only one realizes that Lord Krishna is everything and he surrenders to Lord Krishna. Such a soul is very, actually that is such a Mahatmas are very rare actually. So what Narada Muni is telling here is, even if one does not execute his specific occupational duty, but immediately takes direct shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, there will be no fault on his part. So becoming a devotee of Lord Krishna is not so easy. It takes many. Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bija. In the entire universe, the living entities are wandering in different forms of life. Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavana Jiva. Some fortunate souls, they take up Krishna consciousness. By the mercy of Guru Krishna, they take up Krishna consciousness. So it is not easy for somebody to become a Krishna conscious devotee. It is not easy for somebody to become Krishna conscious devotee. There are crores of karmis and there are crores of jnanis, there are crores of liberated persons. Of all the crores of karmis, crores of jnanis, crores of liberated persons, a bhakta is greater. So becoming a pure devotee is not so easy. It takes so much lifetime. So somehow if one may give up his occupational duty of protecting his family members, he may not be following his grahastha ashrama duty, he may not be following his Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, the duties of a Brahmana, duties of a Kshatriya, duties of a Vaishya, duties of a Shudra. If he is not even following all those Varnashrama responsibilities, he may not be following even other responsibilities, family responsibilities and his occupational responsibility. But somehow he becomes a full-time dedicated servant of Lord Krishna. He becomes a preacher of Krishna. So Lord Krishna is actually, he likes the preachers. Lord Krishna likes the preachers more. Lord Krishna considers the preachers as very dearmost friends. So here Narada Muni is saying somehow one has to surrender to Lord Krishna. So that is important here. Somehow one has to take shelter of Lord Krishna. Sarvadharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Lord Krishna is saying that aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami ma shucha. I will deliver you from all the reactions of your sinful activities. Do not fear. So Krishna is promising here that he will give liberation. First he is telling you surrender unto me, give up all your varieties of religion and varnashrama, dharma, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, give up all your varnashrama responsibilities, just surrender unto me, I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Mamekam sharanam vrita aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshyamashta. I will give you the liberation from the reactions of your sinful activities. So it is actually taking shelter of Lord Krishna is not so easy. So it is not ordinary activity also. If somebody is voluntarily willing to surrender to Lord Krishna, we should be encouraging them. We should actually give them encouragement. So I had a lot of difficulties with Ritviks. They were actually, when I joined ISKCON, they were telling, you have surrendered helplessly, you are not surrendering, something like that they were telling, because they were actually very highly elevated people, means materially they were very educated, they were from very good family background with all the resources they had, and they said, we have given up all our education, all our family background, we are surrendered to Lord Krishna. What are you doing? You are from very simple family background, no education, nothing. So you are surrendering. So helplessly you are surrendering. So they were telling me like that. But I surrendered. I joined because of, not helplessly, I joined because of the philosophy. I was a volunteer at Rashtriya Swayamsevaka Sangha, RSS. I was a volunteer there. I was a leader of the community there also. I was expert in, I had knowledge of Shastra. My family background, if you see, they are all reciters of Mahabharata in temples. We are living very close to Sholingar Yoga Narasimha temple. We are also very close to Kanchipuram. We are very close to Tirupati also. We have some spiritual background. Our families also, they are all Mahabharatam reciters. We have a Draupadi Amma temple also nearby our village. So some family, some interest in the devotional service. So we joined ISKCON not helplessly. We joined ISKCON being inspired by the preachings, inspired by the teachings. Sometimes life is full of difficulties, sometimes good time, bad time comes. So that is there actually. Everybody wants to grow, right? Nobody wants to be stagnant. So anyhow, but so somehow we are surrendering to Lord Krishna, but the people, some people, they have the mentality that our surrender is greater than your surrender, something like that. Such mentalities are there. That is not a very good mentality. So I don't know what happened to all those people. We all know what is happening to them right now. So material education is actually not very good actually. That is making them proud. That is a problem. I don't have any problem with them. Means they were very physically abusive also to me. They have physically abusive, verbally abusive. That is, I can remember all those things even today. Who and all abused me physically, who abused me verbally, who gave so much harassment, who were responsible for my living the Hare Krishna hell. I can remember all of these things. But Krishna knows everything. Krishna knows what we are deserve, what we desire, what we deserve. He knows what to give to us. So we are all caught up in our own karma. So I thought in that way. I did not react to them very seriously. That time I was quite young, maybe 20-21 years. Within that year, I was somewhere around within 20-21 like that. I was quite new, so I did not react to them that day. They were all very highly positioned, powerful people, educated, powerful, rich people. I did not react to them, but now I can think of how they are acted in that way. I can think now. So in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated by Rishabhadeva to his sons, persons engaged in fruitive activities are repeatedly accepting birth and death, and until they develop a loving feeling for Vasudeva, there will be no question of getting out from these stringent laws of material nature. As such, any person who is very seriously engaged in his occupational duties in the varnas and ashramas and who does not develop love for the Supreme Personality Godhead, Vasudeva, should be understood to be simply spoiling his human form of life. So punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah. The four varnas and ashramas are created by me, that is by Lord Krishna, according to the three modes of material nature. That's what Lord Krishna is telling. So one has to follow this varnashrama, and even beyond that one has to engage in practical devotional service to Lord Krishna. Whatever varnas and ashramas one may be situated in, one has to practice the his occupational duty, and then within that occupation one has to render service to Lord Krishna, the devotional, practical devotional service. As we had discussed earlier, devotional service is even above the liberation. Next we have one more quotation from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter verse 32, in which Lord says to Uddhava, Uddhava is a friend of Lord Krishna, is also a relative of Lord Krishna. My dear Uddhava, any person who takes shelter of me in complete surrender and follows my instructions, giving up all occupational duties, is to be considered the first class man. Lord Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita 18 chapter 66th verse, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarvapapi moksheshyami maschahal. Varnashrama dharma is there, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So he is telling, give up sarva dharman, give up all the religious practices, give up all your dharmas, so-called material dharmas. Mamekam shranam raju, surrender unto me. Mameva prapadyante mayametam taratati. By taking shelter of me, you will be able to cross over this illusion of material world. The material world, there are various dharmas, there are Brahmana dharma, Kshatriya dharma, Vaishya dharma, Shudra dharma, Mlecha, Yavana dharma, Chandalas, so many, their occupation duty, their constitutional position is that. What is dharma means? It's a constitutional position. The constitutional position of a sugar is sweetness. Constitutional position of a chili, whatever it may be, chili is pungent. Constitutional position of a sun planet is fiery. Constitutional position of a moon planet is coldness. Constitutional position of each and every planet is different. So that's the constitution, that is dharma, that is nature. The nature of every Atma is Sachidananda. So every Atma is, that is called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma means every Atma is eternal, and the process through which one realizes the nature of his eternality is that is Sanatana Dharma. Following the Sanatana Dharma, one realizes that his position is eternal. But following this so-called Varnashrama Dharma, one may still attach to the body. If he follows the Bhakti Marga, then he rises above the three modes of material nature, rises above the material religion, material duties, material occupational duties. If he does the spiritual, if he does the devotional service, is above the three modes of material nature, above the this Varnashrama. Materially, we have various duties for every caste, every community, every Varna, and every ashrama. There is a different duty. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. So those who are in the path of fruitive activities, they will take birth and die. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, jatare shayanam. They will take birth and they will die. They will be wandering kshine punyam martya lokam vishanti. They will do some pious activities. They will go to higher planets. Again, once their pious activities, the results of their pious activities is finished, they will come. Kshine punya martya lokam vishanti. So once their pious activities is finished, they will come down to the material world come down to the planet Earth through the rain, and the rain is used for cultivation of the crops. The crops are when there is grains, then they're consumed by the human beings, then there is a semen, and then there is a childbirth. So that's how they take birth. The souls, the pious, the karma kandavadis, those who are pious souls, those who do fruitive activities, karma kanda, fruitive activities, the karmis, after performing their pious activities, they will go to some higher heavenly planets, maybe Chandraloka, Indraloka, Varunaloka, Vayuloka, Kuberaloka, or Pitruloka, Gandharvaloka. Once, because of the pious activities, they get higher forms of life. Once the results of their pious activities is finished, they will again come down to the earthly planet. So in that way, they will take birth and they will die. They will take birth and they will die. So until they develop a loving feeling for Vasudeva, there will be no question of getting out from these stringent laws of material nature. The laws of material nature is what? Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha, Dosha, Anudarshanam. This is the laws of material nature. These are very strict laws, stringent laws. You cannot bypass this law. You cannot, just escape this law. You may escape the laws of the land. You may escape the laws of a company or corporation, but you cannot escape the laws of the nature. So those who are very seriously engaged in his occupational duties in the varnas and ashramas and who does not develop love for the Supreme Person, God, Vasudeva, should be understood to be simply spoiling his human form of life. So nowadays we are seeing so many people are declaring themselves as belonging to Brahmana caste, somebody declaring themselves as belonging to Kshatriya caste, somebody declaring themselves to belong to Vaishya caste. So they are very proud of their caste, their birth, and they follow the rules and regulations of those castes, those varnas very seriously. But they don't develop the attitude of devotional towards Lord Krishna, attitude of serving Lord Krishna. So they do not develop the love for God. They do not develop love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam. After performing so many austerities, so many charities, so many sacrifices, after performing so many rituals, after performing so many activities, occupational duties, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, even any other ashramas, Varnashrama. So the purpose of Varnashrama is Chaturvida. Lord Krishna is telling that I created this 4 Varnas and Ashramas. Lord Krishna himself created this. Because of 3 modes of material nature, there are 4 Varnas and Ashramas. One has to rise above these 3 modes of material nature. One has to situate himself in Suddha Sattva Guna. As long as one is in this Rajaguna, Tamaguna, will take repeated birth and death. Even Sattva also, one may take birth and death. One has to rise above this Rajas and Tamas. Even Sattva, one has to rise above, even first, foremost is one has to rise above the Tamaguna. Next is one has to rise above the Rajaguna. Next one has to rise above the Rajaguna and then go to Sattva. Even Sattva is purified goodness. One has to transcend the 3 modes of material nature. Until unless one engages himself in a practical devotional service, all his activities are considered to be Shrama Eva Kevalam. Many people are very expert in performing various activities, but they don't have any love for God. We will today continue to read from Nectar of Devotion, chapter number 5, the purity of devotional service. In the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated by Rishabhadeva to his sons, persons engaged in creative activities or repeatedly accepting birth and death, and until they develop a feeling of Vaisudeva, until they have a feeling for Vasudeva, until they develop a loving feeling for Vasudeva, there will be no question of getting out from these stringent laws of material nature. As such, any person who is very seriously engaged in his occupational duties in the Varnas and Ashramas and who does not develop love for the Supreme Personality Godhead Vasudeva should be understood to be simply spoiling his human form of life. This is confirmed also in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter verse 32, in which the Lord says to Uddhava, "My dear Uddhava, any person who takes shelter of me in complete surrender and follows my instructions, giving up all occupational duties, is to be considered the first class man." In this statement of the Srimad Supreme Personality Godhead, it is understood that people who are generally attracted to philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, political and social welfare activities may be considered nice men only in the calculation of the material world. From Srimad Bhagavatam and other authentic Vedic scriptures, we learn further that if a person simply acts in Krishna consciousness and discharges devotional service, is considered to be far better situated than all of those persons engaged in philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic and social welfare activities. The same thing is still more emphatically confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, verse 41, in which Karabhajana Muni addresses Maharaj Nimi as follows: "My dear king, if someone gives up his occupational duties as they are prescribed for the different varnas and ashramas but takes complete shelter, surrendering himself unto the lotus feet of the Lord, such a person is no more a debtor, nor has he any obligation to perform the different kinds of activities we render to the great sages, ancestors, living entities, and family and society members. Nor has he any need to bother executing the 5 kinds of yajnas, sacrifices for becoming free from sinful contamination. Simply by discharging devotional service, he is freed from all kinds of obligations. The purport is that as soon as man takes his birth, he is immediately indebted to so many sources. He is indebted to the great sages because he profits by reading their authoritative scriptures and books. For example, we take advantage of the books written by Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva has left for us all the Vedas. Before Vyasadeva's writing, Vedic literature was simply heard, and the disciples would learn the mantras quickly by hearing and not by reading. Later on, Vyasadeva thought it wise to write down the Vedas because in this age people are short-memoried and unable to remember all the instructions given by the spiritual master. Therefore, he left all the Vedic knowledge in the form of books such as the Puranas, Vedanta, Mahabharata and Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many other sages like Shankaracharya, Gautama Muni and Narada Muni to whom we are indebted to because we take advantage of their knowledge. Similarly, we are obliged to our forefathers because we take our birth in a particular family where we take all advantages and inherit property. Therefore, we are indebted to the forefathers and have to offer them pinda, prasada after they are dead. Similarly to the people in general, we are also indebted, as well as to our relatives, friends and even animals such as cows and dogs who render us so much service. In this way, we are indebted to the demigods, to the forefathers, to the sages, to the animals and to society in general. It is our duty to repay them all by proper discharge of service. But by the one stroke of devotional service, if someone gives up all obligations and simply surrenders unto the Supreme Personality Godhead, he is no longer a debtor nor obliged to any other source of benefit. In Bhagavad Gita also the Lord says, "Give up all your occupations and just become surrendered unto me. I give you assurance that I shall give you protection from all sinful reactions." One may think that because he is surrendering unto the Supreme Personality Godhead, he will not be able to perform all of his other obligations. But the Lord says repeatedly, don't hesitate, don't consider that because you are giving up all other engagements, there will be some flaw in your life. Don't think like that. I will give you all protection. That is the assurance of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. There is additional evidence in the Agastya Samhita as a regulative principles of scripture are not required by a liberated person. So the ritualistic principles indicated in the Vedic supplements are also not required for a person duly engaged in the service of Lord Ramachandra. In other words, the devotees of Lord Ramachandra or Krishna are already liberated persons and are not required to follow all the regulative principles mentioned in the ritualistic portions of the Vedic literature. Similarly, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, verse 42, Karabhajana Muni addresses King Nimi and says, "My dear king, if a person who has given up the worship of the demigods and has completely concentrated his energy in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has become very, very dear to the Lord as much as such. If by chance or mistake he does something which is far forbidden, there is no need for him to perform any purificatory ceremonies, because the Lord is situated within his heart. He takes compassion for the devotee's accidental mistakes and corrects him from within. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita in many places that the Supreme Personality Godhead Krishna takes a special interest in his devotees and declares emphatically that nothing can cause his devotees to fall down. He is always protecting them. So here we have a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto. Rishabhadeva, who was one of the emperor of this planet Earth, is also considered to be an incarnation. Avaduta is Avaduta. So it's not like other parampara, other Guru Shishya parampara is following. It's actually like Avaduta. That is not the proper way that we have to follow him. We should not follow the ways and means how he followed. Rishabhadeva, he was totally on a spiritual Brahman platform, spiritual platform. He was not on material platform. He was a self-realized soul. He was actually considered to be an incarnation of Lord Krishna. He is actually an emperor of this planet Earth. So they are fully realized souls. So he is instructing to his sons, persons engaged in fruitive activities are repeatedly accepting birth and death. And until they develop loving feeling for Vasudeva, there will be no question of getting out from these stringent laws of material nature. So as we already discussed that there are crores and crores of karmis. Among the crores and crores of karmis, one self-realized soul, one jnani is great. Among the crores and crores of jnanis, intellectuals, self-realized souls, one liberated person, this only Muktatma is great. Among the crores and crores of Muktatma, one Bhakta is great. So Bhakta is great actually. Of all the karmis, jnanis, muktas, liberated persons, one Bhakta is straight, Sreshta. So here if you see, Rishabhadeva is telling to his sons the karmis, about the karmis. The karmis are engaged in fruitive activities. They do business. So they take repeatedly birth and die. The karmis, they will take birth and they will die. So based on one's activities, one gets higher forms of life or lower forms of life. There is always a Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavanjay. They will be wandering in the different forms of life. Only some fortunate souls, they become devotees. Entire universe people are wandering. Different people perform different activities and they get the result. So they want to enjoy. The first people are not interested in dharma nowadays. They are interested in artha and then they are interested in kama. So here they will take repeated birth and die. Those who are karmis, those who follow the path of karma marga, they will take repeated birth and die until they develop a loving feeling for Vasudeva. There will be no question of getting out from this stringent laws of material nature. So if they become devotees of Lord Krishna, then they will be able to overcome these three modes of Daivim Prakriti. First they are in the material world. So material world means there is a birth, death, old age, disease. But Daivim Prakritim, Mahatmanas Tumam Pata Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. They take shelter of the spiritual energy, the divine energy of Lord Krishna. They become great souls. They will have some loving feelings. Until unless one has this then he cannot get out of the clutches of Maya. Until unless he develops a loving feeling for Vasudeva, there is no question of getting out from these stringent laws of material nature. Lord Krishna is a giver of liberation for all categories of people. Hmm. So, Lord Krishna himself is telling in Bhagavad Gita 18 chapter 66 verse, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam shranam vraja aham tvam sarva papiva mokshishyammachcha. So, give up all the varieties of dharma and surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all the results of simple reactions. Do not fear. So, Krishna is himself is telling, but why people are not interested in Bhagavad Gita? People are not interested in um, following the instruction of Krishna. They are interested in becoming Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Sikh, or Buddhist, or atheist, or communist, agnostics, so many things. They want to become, they want to keep their designations. They don't want to surrender to Lord Krishna. That is a mistake. So, because of which they will suffer the reactions of the material world. Because when Lord Krishna is telling you surrender, if one surrenders, then Krishna will take care of all the results of one's sinful acts. So when the when a criminal is there, when a thief is there, he is not surrendering to the police, then he will still continue to suffer. When he surrenders, his problems are reduced at least. Similarly, when as long as we are attached to this desecration, false dharma, or the material dharma, temporary dharma, these are all guna dharmas, three guna dharmas. We were, because of the three gunas, we are classified as the Brahmana, Satriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Below that, Mleccha, Yavana, Chandala. These are all lowest modes of ignorance. Lowest modes of ignorance is called this. All these things. Complete tamoguna, very very darkest, andhatama, complete darkness, great ignorance. Those who are completely ignorant, they are urdhvam gachanti satvasta, madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganna gunavrittista ado gachanti tamasa. Those who are in mode of goodness, they go to higher planets. Those who are in mode of passion, they remain in the earthly planet. Those who remain in the mode of ignorance, they go down to the lower planets. So occupational, there must be some goal of all the occupations, all the shastra, sadhu, guru, everybody's, the goal of everything is sambandha abhideya prayojana. The result should be the love of Godhead is ultimate result of all the activities. The ultimate result is love of Godhead. So if one does not develop love of Godhead after performing all his occupational duties very nicely, if one does not develop the love of Godhead, that is simply spoiling the human form of life. After many births only one takes one gets human form of life. Aquatics, plants, trees, insects, birds, and human animals, at last human form of life. Total 84 lakh varieties of species are there. Aridu Maridarai Pirathalirudu. So there is one poet, Avayar, she is telling that it is rare to get human form of life. So there is a poet in Tamil Nadu called Avayar, a lady. She is telling that Aridu Maridarai Pirathalirudu means getting birth as a human being is very rare actually. So that is very, so human form of life is very rare actually. After getting this human form of life, if one does not realize about the one does not develop love for God, that's a human form of life is waste of that. The Lord Prabhupada is telling that if one does not develop love of Godhead, then that form of life is waste. Shrama heva hi kevalam. So next is So, my dear Uddhava, any person who takes shelter of me in complete surrender and follows my instructions, giving up all occupational duties, is to be considered the first class man. So, Krishna is telling they are first class people. Those who take complete shelter of Lord Krishna and follow the instruction of Lord Krishna, giving up all the temporary dharmas. The Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, these are all temporary. Anybody can become Brahmana, anybody can become Kshatriya, anybody can become Shudra, Vaishya, anybody can become Vecha, Yavana also, Chandala also. That is all because of the three modes of material nature. Because of three modes of material nature, one is Brahmana, one is Kshatriya, one is Vaishya, Shudra. Lord Krishna is telling, Traividya, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjana. Lord Krishna is telling and Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling to Arjuna, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. This entire Veda is consisting of three modes of material nature. Nistraigunya Bhavarjana. Get out of these three modes of material nature. Lord Krishna is telling. We have 18 Puranas, 6 Puranas for Sattva people, 6 Puranas for Rajoguna people, 6 Puranas for Tamoguna people. So the entire world is filled with three modes of material nature. Lord Krishna is telling, get out of these three modes of material nature. Nistray Gunyo Bhavarjuna. So Mahatmanas Tumam Partha Daivim Prakriti Ashritaha. So when we have to situate ourselves in the divine energy, that is Yoga Maya, we have to situate ourselves in Yoga Maya. So, in this statement of the Supreme Person of Godhead, it is understood that people who are generally attached to philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, political, and social welfare activities may be considered nice men only in the calculation of the material world. So, nowadays we are seeing so many people are interested in so many activities like they will open schools, colleges, hospitals, midday meal schemes also there nowadays. Poor feeding, so many things, so many philanthropic activities are being performed by various people. Even moral, ethical, altruistic, political and social welfare activities. So they do various welfare activities for Hindu, Christian, Muslims. There is a division is there, and there is also caste division. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra caste division is there. Upper caste, lower caste, outcast, Dalit, welfare for Dalit community, welfare for scheduled caste community, welfare for scheduled tribe community, welfare for Vanir caste, welfare for Shettiya caste, Naidu caste, welfare for this caste, that caste. So many castes are there. And politically means like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra, Kerala, Kashmir, Pakistan. Within this India, there are so many Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kendra, Andhra, Kerala. But internationally, India, Pakistan, India, China, India, Nepal, India, Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh. These are international issues. And more altruistic, political, social welfare activities. So people are interested in the temporary things. People are not interested in the permanent things. They may be nice men only in the calculation of the material world. In the material world, everything is changing. Bhutva praliyate. Lord Krishna is telling, it is created, maintained, destroyed. Created, maintained, destroyed. It's again and it's created, maintained, destroyed. It's in the day of Brahma, so many creation is happening, so many destruction is happening, so many things are happening. So those who are devotees of Lord Krishna, those who are practically engaging in the service of Lord Krishna, they are considered to be far situated above all of these persons engaged in philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, social welfare activities. As we had discussed earlier, Koti karma madhya eka jnani shrestha. After crores of karmis, fruity workers, one Jnani is greater. One realized is one philosophically inclined person is great. Out of crores of people who are inclined towards philosophically inclined, one liberated person is great. Out of crores of liberated person, one bhakta is straight. So bhakti is actually higher than all the people in the world. Philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, social welfare activities. So we have one more quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, verse 41, in which the Karabhajana Muni addresses Maharaja Nimi as follows. My dear king, if someone gives up his occupational duties as they are prescribed for the different varnas and ashramas but takes complete shelter, surrendering himself unto the lotus feet of the Lord, such a person is no more a debtor, nor has he any obligation to perform the different kinds of activities we render to the great sages, ancestors, living entities, and family members and society members. Nor has he any need to bother executing the 5 kinds of yajnas, sacrifices for becoming free from sinful contamination. Simply by discharging devotional service, he is free from all kinds of obligations. So we have so many quotations here. Devendra Puri was telling Sandhya Vandanam, something, there is sloka is there. So he is not able to perform Sandhya Vandana, he is not able to perform Shraddha Tarpana, he is not able to perform so many duties because he is surrendered to Lord Krishna. He is worshipping Lord Krishna. So he is telling, I cannot able to do all my Shraddha ceremony, I cannot able to do worship the ancestors, I cannot do Sandhya Vandana, I cannot do this, I cannot do this, I cannot do this, because I have taken shelter of Lord Krishna. So he is telling, kindly excuse me. So the moment we take birth in this world, we are obligated to so many people. Deva, Rishi, Bhutapta, Runam, Pitrunam, Nakinkaro. So many people were obligated. The moment we take birth in this world, we are obligated to the Devarshi, Bhutapta, Nranam, Pitrunam, Nakinkaro, Rayam Rudicharajam, Sharvatmanaya, Sharanam, Sharanyam, Kato Mukandam, Pari Hrude Kartum. If one surrenders to Lord Krishna, he is not obligated to anybody. If one has a very close relationship with the president of a country, then he did not have to worry about other people. Similarly, if one has a direct connection with Lord Krishna, then he did not have to worry about other demigods or Durdevatas or Devatas, Durdevatas. He did not have to worry about them because when he engages in service of Lord Krishna, everything is taken care of. So there is no need to worry about the Devatas, Durdevatas. So that is the same thing. Quotation is given by Narada Muni also. Quotation is given by Madhavendra Puri also. Quotation is given by Madhavendra Puri, and quotations is given by so many acharyas. Here the Karabhajana Muni is telling to Maharaja Nimi also same thing is telling. So if the moment we surrender to Lord Krishna, everything is taken care of, then we are not obligated to any demigods or ancestors or human beings, friends, relatives, so many things. The moment we take birth, we are obligated to so many people. But the moment we surrender to Lord Krishna, we are not obligated to anybody. So there are various sacrifices one has to perform for becoming purification from this world. By discharging devotional service, we can become free from all kinds of obligations. The moment we take birth in the material world, we are obligated to so many people. We are indebted to the great sages because we profit by reading their books. We take knowledge from so many sages, Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, Madhavendra Puri, Madhvacharya. We are obligated to so many, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are obligated to Prabhupada, we are obligated to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, we are obligated to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we are obligated to so many people. We take advantage of the books written by Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva has left for us all the Vedas. Before Vyasadeva's writing, the Vedic literature was simply heard, and the disciples would learn the mantras quickly by hearing and not by reading. Later on, Vyasadeva thought it wise to write down the Vedas because in this age people are short-memoried and unable to remember all the instructions given by the spiritual master. Therefore, he left all the Vedic knowledge in the form of books such as the Puranas, Vedanta, Mahabharata, and Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many other sages like Shankaracharya, Gautama Muni, and Narada Muni to whom we are indebted because we take advantage of their knowledge. Similarly, we are obliged to our forefathers because we take our birth in a particular family where we take all advantages and inherit their property. Therefore, we are indebted to the forefathers and have to offer them pinda, prasada after their death. Similarly to the people in general, we are also indebted as well as to our relatives, friends, and even animals such as cows and dogs who render us so much service. In this way, we are indebted to the demigods, to the forefathers, to the sages, to the animals, and to society in general. It is our duty to repay them all by proper discharge of service. But by the one stroke of devotional service, if someone gives up all occupational obligations, gives up all obligations, and simply surrenders unto the Supreme Personality Godhead, he is no longer a debtor nor obliged to any other source or benefit. So in Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna says, give up all your occupations and just surrender unto me. I give you assurance that I shall give you protection from all sinful reactions. One may think that because he is surrendering unto the Supreme Personality Godhead, he will not be able to perform all of his other obligations. But Lord says repeatedly, don't hesitate, don't consider that because you are giving up all other engagements, there will be some flaw in your life. Don't think like that. I will give you all protection. That is the assurance of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. There is additional evidence in Agastya Samhita. So like that, so many